So I went to Pokemon Worlds. In this video, I'll break down my experience of spectating, competing, and meeting quite a few Pokemon YouTubers. While watching this video, please share how you felt about going to or watching Worlds this year in the comments. And hit that subscribe button to receive an encore of Pokemon content weekly. Day 0 of getting to the venue went off nice and easy. I flew in from the Bay Area and no one was at either airport on a Thursday afternoon. Checking in was something else. We passed a giant Pikachu on the way in and I entered the Hilton to check in. It happened to be the wrong one. Anaheim Marriott versus Anaheim Marriott Suites. So that was okay. It was only a 20-minute walk or so away from the convention center. I refueled and recharged before an early 6 a.m. wake up. Day 1 begins with me dressed as Lucas from Diamond and Pearl. Walking to the venue, the outside was super cool. An Overlord Pikachu watching his subjects, 2 rows of food trucks, and a built-up Switch 2 experience with Legend ZA. I was unlucky and actually did not get to play, but oh well, we'll see in a few weeks. I head into the badge pickup and received my pass, 2 packs of Destined Rivals, and my event Toadschool holding black glasses. Yeah, not the best exclusive mon, but it'll have to do. A few minutes after check-in and bag check, I walked down the convention hall where the opening ceremony began. They brought in some singing talent with Michelle Ray, Chi-Chi, and Cam Steady. This was actually quite the performance with a Pikachu convertible. They accompanied the mini concert with a short Worlds promo video to get the crowd excited. Mr. Pokemon himself, Ishihara, made an appearance and thanked everyone for coming. After the opening ceremony, it was time to get my bearings and explore the venue. They had a Pokemon museum of all previous Worlds merch and champion winners. The rest of the side activities included a pin trading hall, a play center for older titles, casual buy-in tournaments to win prizes, and a giant Miraidon, which you may have seen the Toyota team unveil last year. I grabbed a pin collecting sheet and began my quest to gather the world's pins, which go for a pretty penny looking back. I consider these as gym badges. I was handed a Pikachu to start. The staff handled people wanting more than one with a scan of your badge, so you could not pretend you haven't received one. I made my way to the TCG Art Gallery, where I would have to trade a pin with staff to receive my Toadschool pin. I traded my spare Honolulu Worlds pin with a staff member, and he actually tracked me down to give it back, thinking my pin was too valuable to trade. What a nice guy! I entered the gallery he was funneling people into and saw canvases and portraits of TCG Full Arts and TCG Pocket Rares, all of which were very impressive. They staged the whole area as an exhibit, so you felt as if you had to keep your voice low. A lot of the Black Bolt and White Flare sets were also displayed. The Fennekin pin I received was at a bookmark making table, and Chespin for registering for yet another Pokemon app. This one, of course, being named the Play Pokemon app. This is used for tournament play and record tracking, I believe. I was also handed a Vanillite pin for taking a picture with a big Pika outside. There was a 2-hour line for official photos, but I happened to snag a selfie without knowing. I beelined for the game lab and played Pokemon Stadium 2 to earn my next badge, the Froakie pin, and earned my Platinum Medal for Hoenn in Pokemon Go after trading someone in line. Man, I've been waiting for that one. Leaving, after a brisk defeat in Stadium 2, I saw a familiar face in line. It was the popular YouTuber Tamahiro. She's been on YouTube quite a while and I thanked her for all the videos she had made, grabbed a selfie, and had our Pokewalkers connect for a meetup. I didn't even know they could do that. Towards the end of the Friday, I ran into the Pokemon Rescue Team, Professor Tobbs and Professor Rex. Trainers from the convention bring them their Pokemon from an older title, and they transport them through all the other generations to bring them to Pokemon Home. This is certainly a rescue if you don't happen to have the right equipment and a number of titles. I asked if they had any events for Gen 3, and Tobbs had to run a side quest outside the venue to get power equipment. I was waiting to get my hands on Jirachi, Deoxys, and Celebi when I saw someone transfer their shiny Spinda. This is quite possibly the only one of its kind with 4 billion combinations, each combination having their spots in a slightly different fashion. Also, while I was waiting, I got my hands on their Eon ticket, which distributes the other Latios or Latias to Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire. This happened to be my friend's cartridge, Shadow Thomas. What I learned though is if I mixed records, I was able to have my Eon ticket of my own in Pokemon Emerald. Very cool. With Tobbs back with the power cord, it was time to get my hands on some mythicals. Unfortunately, I was not able to get Celebi, as you had to have a completed copy of Ruby or Sapphire in Japanese, fully completed. Ugh. Next time. Japan, take this as a warning. They also did not have distribution for Deoxys, as that has not been available legitimately since 2004. Anyways, check out this beautiful Jirachi. I stuck around the professor's lab until it was time to watch the Pokemon cosplay showcase. We were hanging with a Rourke cosplayer this whole time. who I exchanged Pokewalkers with, of course. He had looked into participating in the contest, but unfortunately there was quite a few hoops to jump through to be on stage. With day one down, I got lots of freebies, custom e-reader cards, stickers, pins, and my newest dex entry, Jirachi. Fighting these e-reader trainers will be for another video, some of which are all level 100. I will seriously need to train up for these. That night, I actually met up with some friends who live down here in LA. Here's a giant volleyball in Santa Monica. Day 2 at the convention, no more cosplay. Yes, contrary to popular belief, gamers shower and do not typically reuse clothes. I did not have a game plan really walking in. I sort of just jumped into a line for casual video game competition, which turned out to be nearly 2 hours long. Oh lord. An hour and a half in, I'm chatting with my new line friends when I realize I'm in the line for TCG and not the video game. Oops, sorry y'all, I hopped the line about equidistant. My bad. My new line friend had helped me put together a team. What I didn't know is that we would be facing off in battle. Now he knows all my secrets. I got 3rd out of 4th and gave my tickets to a kid who couldn't get her poor Switch Lite to work. I mean, I totally won with my skills, naturally. After my prize had been won, I went to the creator zone where I traded pins with Austin John Plays and chatted with him and his now fiance. Congratulations! And thanks for the Murkrow pin. Later, I waited in line to see Tomohiro. I had to make sure her line was full, and I was totally starstruck. The whole time she had such a great presence. I was about as red as a tomato and kept fumbling my sentences. We exchanged Pokewalkers again and I totally accidentally grabbed hers by mistake and pocketed it. Oh, I wanted to scratch my eyes out. She's so sweet. I had her sign my DS Lite for some shiny luck for what was to come. A few hours later, if anyone was a Pokemon YouTuber and hunted shiny Pokemon, they were here in the center of the convention at 5 p.m. Shiny Catherine, Absolblog's Pokemon, Blue Vactor, Quick Panic, Canned Wolf Meat, Slanted Gaming, and the great Ribbon Master Sir Toasty Toes are just some of the few streamers I can name from this over 200 trainer exhibition. A retro shiny hunt for generations 2 through 5 were held by Nora in the future, and for about an hour, all these people sat at the unused competitor tables and scored up how many encounters they received. I was actually sitting across from Absolblog's Pokemon and Kotatsu and Unova, both of which meant business as they had a dozen handhelds between themselves. Absol actually had a few gifts given to him and had them spread out, which was cool to see. I am very jealous of his One Piece 3DS, so if anyone can get their hands on it for me, I thank you. Kotatsu is super cool, you guys should check out her videos. But there we were, we racked up about 60,000 encounters in an hour, only 5 or 6 shinies, which lines up with the odds. I was shiny hunting in Diamond's Great Marsh and Heart Gold's Safari Zone, only because I had not prepared a mon with False Swipe and all. It was so fun to see these Pokemon creators together and interact with the rest of the community. After a group picture, it was time to go walk home. I was kind of bummed seeing the weekend was almost over. It kind of settled into lowering my expectations. I wasn't going to share a beer with Mr. Pokemon. I wasn't going to get any exclusive merch. And on this walk home is where I would meet my new overseas brother. I run into Japanese vloggers. I spot a Pikachu bag, so I figured they were here to watch the event. Now, I had been meeting new people all day and felt inclined to say something. They seemed like a fun and bright friend group, but were strictly speaking Japanese. So I figured if I were to say anything, it would have to be outside of English. We're watching this Shetland corgi looking dog wait so obedient at the light, and as we cross, so did the dog. Very cute. They're making comments on what I can't understand, but I chime in with Wanpachi and point, which happens to be the Japanese name for Yamper. They seem to agree and started filming yet again. They're filming another dog, kind of on the loose with a lady next to her sedan on the other side of the road. This isn't exactly the best appearance of what the Golden State can offer, and I wanted to prove it by giving the vlogger a gift. I handed him my Ho-Oh and Lugia immersive cards from TCG Pocket. These were handed to me by Fex Collects, the guy who made all the e-reader cards for all the Pokemon YouTubers. The story of these was that the art of Ho-Oh was briefly taken down in TCG Pocket after the art had been accused and proven to be traced by another artist's fan drawing. It turned out to be a whole ordeal and they took down the art. I really did not know enough Japanese to properly communicate, but they had had enough English to make speaking meaningful. Later on our shared walk, his friends explained that they were video game competitors, and I handed my cards to the 2015 world champion, Shoma Honami. I didn't recognize him, but it was great meeting a world champion. We took a few photos under his request, then a few of his buddies on my camera. They walked to a Japanese steakhouse, and I went to my hotel across the street. Later that night, I searched for Shoma online, going by Shade Vieira on all his socials, where I saw he posted the photo of us. It was seriously doing numbers at 50k impressions. I comment and quote retweet to say how it was so nice meeting him and his friends, and Japanese Twitter had a field day. At 57,000 likes, thousands of retweets, and a couple dozen very wholesome comments, this had to be one of the most viewed tweets from the Worlds event. Not even Pokemon was reaching these metrics. It was one of the few times Pokemon Worlds broke its main audience and reached mainstream feeds. This being my second or third time blowing up on Twitter had me glued to my phone all night. Sunday, day 3, was even more hilarious, as when I'm in the stadium early, Vieira runs into me and asks for another picture. He also seemed shocked by how well his post was doing. I hope to meet him and his friends next year, and I actually made a 30-second video while in the Worlds arena, which will be recommended at the end of this video. All in Japanese, of course. The finals went off with a bang. Fog machines and fire, but the stadium felt empty as people weren't allowed to be let back in after 10 a.m. I had a feeling that I would camp in here all day to guarantee a spot, and that feeling turned out to be true. So what did I learn? How do I feel about Pokemon Worlds? I learned that even with so much Pokemon knowledge and battling practice I may have, there is always someone sweatier, smarter, and more experienced than myself. It was great to see so many fans of the franchise I've loved forever congregate for a weekend. And it was really special meeting all of the Pokemon content celebrities, then later watching the match finals inside the arena. I think the Pokemon Company has done a great job scaling their most watched competitive event. Going from a few curtains and fold-out tables 10 years ago, they really gave the spectators enough activities to keep us busy the whole weekend, and proper production value for its competitors. Now, I may have missed the signups for all the popular events, as well as the store, but with next year rolling into San Francisco, my hometown, I am certainly going to be attending. It was a great experience overall. I'm excited to see what they will be up to next year, and I know the prices for the event nearly doubled already for next year, but I guess that's San Francisco Bay Area for you. Anyways, until next time,